Good morning, everyone. It's still morning for me. It's only 9:30 in the morning. On our last episode, you've seen that we painted this all up together. I've decided to continue because I'm in the mood for modelling. So now that this is all painted, and I put an extra piece of tape across the nose, just because there did seem to be some little holes inside of here that could have or may not have leaked. So just to make sure, we just put one piece around the nose, and so it looks like that. I mean, it's just to cover and then getting in. So there we have it ready. I'll just go around and nudge all the lines, and then I'll get some paint ready and we'll start painting this. So there is our ship ready, or our sub. I also want to mention there was the line that crossed these two little openings here. I took the tape out of those in preparation for painting. Yes, that was a bad idea. And I do not want to knock that off again. So what I'll do now is I'll mix up some paint, and I'm sure you've seen me do it before, but I'll do it one more time in front of you. I normally do a 6 to 4 to start off, and then I check it. So with my pipettes, I keep them mostly in thinners. I'll just drain that one out. It's fairly clean. It's clean on the inside, not so much on the outside, but I'm only just going to be dipping it in. So you're probably thinking, gee, 6 to 4, that's an awful lot of paint. Yes. I generally mix them up in these, and I keep them, and I use them a lot. And same when I did the hull on the HMS Queen Elizabeth, I did the 6 and 4, and I ended up using most of it, and then I had to do a touch-up, which I used the last of it anyway. So this is, believe it or not, quite a big sub. There's lots to paint on it, so we're going to need a fair bit of paint. One squeeze. One. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I do want to explain, there's a reason why I do it this way. Is number one, I don't want to contaminate my good thinners. And number two, once I've gone into the paint, I can't go back to the thinners. So I'd rather have slightly more thinners and just add more paint. It's not like I'm not going to use these anyway. What are these, like $5? You know, it doesn't really matter. So I'll give this a good shake. Yeah, we'll open this one up. Ooh, that is a lovely, lovely colour. Now, the other thing I like to do, now I'm going to dirty the pipette up. I'm going to just scrape the bottom, just to make sure there's no chunks on the bottom, which is perfectly fine. Now, I'm going to do exactly the same process before. One squeeze. One. And sometimes I even, with all that thinners, I'll just blast the inside of this to get rid of the excess paint. 2. We'll use the thinners to clean the pipette. That's 3. And one more. Which will nearly finish that off anyway. So that's it. So now I'm just going to, with the pipette, I'm just going to mix the paint up a little bit. Yeah, I can get the electric mixer out, but that's also how I did that spilling yesterday. I usually just do this because I find it helps to clean the pipette out as well. And yes, I do struggle to say that word, as my lovely partner knows. So we'll just, now I'll clean that off, give it a dop. Yeah, that's pretty good. You've probably seen me do that before because I can see how thin it is. It's nice for spraying, and it's not too watery where you're losing colour, and it's too watered down. So that is actually a really nice colour. I do like that. So now let's get ready. I'll get the gun ready, I'll get it cleaned up, and I'll come back. I will mention that I use this constantly for cleaning all the bits and pieces up. Sometimes I'll just plop them in there, suck a bit up, put a lid on it and let it go. This is what I call my dirty thinners, and anything I want to thinners through the gun, this is the stuff that I use. I'm also going to soak the end just for 5 minutes just to clean it off. I have a lot of trouble with my gun, and I've found that this is the problem. As long as I keep this clean, I don't have any problems. The other thing I'm going to mention, just while I'm waiting for that to soak, it only takes 5 minutes to soak it. Now, when I undercoated all this, it's a long ship, and I told you about my struggle about, trying to keep this off the ground. So what I did is I basically sprayed 1/2 of it, and possibly a little bit more. And then I had to hang on to this for a little while for it to dry. And then I basically flipped it around and did the other half that I was hanging on to. It's a little time consuming that way, but this way it didn't have to rest on anything and ruin the paint. So I'm going to do the exact same way again on the darker colour. So there it is, nice and clean. All I do is I get one of those cloths with my toothpick, I run it in around the outside there, clean it all up, and it's like brand new. So I'll get that on there and get it ready. And also any extra I have from the gun from cleaning it out, I tip it all back in there anyway. So it all kind of gets reused. And I just want to mention the last thing I do when I clean it out is I make sure I blow out all the thinners outside the gun. The last thing I want is it recontaminating the new colour or thinning it down anymore. So I just spray it until it's all gone. It's now nice and clean and all ready to go for the next colour. I always make sure after I've finished using it, I close the lid. I've mentioned this in other videos that I've knocked it over, and yes, I always close it now. So here I am already set up. I'm just going to do a quick little colour test on the side here. Just make sure it's coming out the right way. Maybe make some adjustments to the air. And I think what we'll do first is we'll just work around these fins. Yep, nice. We just want to dust coat it for now. It's a very light dust coat, top of that fin as well. Let's work around that square. So what we're really after is just to sort of start blacking off that white and the red. And the red there as well. Now, if you're wondering why a dust coat, the dust coat dries quickly.
I have a reminder for John.
And after it's drying quickly, it just allows the other paint to stick to it even better. So the first coat will only take a few minutes to dry. And as you can see, it's just a dust coat, so I'm just sort of working my way around and all the way back to the ship. I'm not too worried about the red at the moment. This is quite a dark colour, which is why we chose this one last. Any dark colour will come back and cover that red. We'll give it that red just a little more. And as you can see, it's starting to disappear. Let's do the nose a little bit more as well. Let's work it down further down the ship. Remember, this is only a dust coat. Ooh. Covering over that white. A bit more on the white, a bit more of the dust there. Keep going a little further. Now I can turn this up and spray a lot heavier, But for this dust coat, I'm just trying to give it an even tone at the moment. That's about all. And it is now slightly heavier than a dust coat, but that's alright. So what we'll do, we'll let that go off. So it's now been a few minutes since it's tacked off. So what we'll do, we'll go back to the start and we'll just put another layer on. Again, we're going to try and remove more of that red now. Slightly heavier and above the line too, because now what we're trying to do is really sort of even it out. Top of the fins and the end. That's why I put the tape on just the one way. Don't want to go too heavy. You want to get rid of the red there as well. Not bad. And again, I'm not spraying into the line, I'm spraying onto the line. My left and right will be enough to make sure that it actually gets over that red and onto the line. I've noticed these ports are a little hard to spray as well. So just going to give most of them just an extra piece. And because they're angled, you'll have to do them in a couple of different angles as well. But that's alright, we can do that. So now what we'll do, we'll work further down the ship. Putting the next colour on, like a bit darker. Kind of really liking the colour too. I actually think it suits the submarine. It's not traditionally black. And the problem with blacks is, because I come from a painting background, there's a lot of different colour blacks. So what we're really doing now is trying to blend out all the white, all the red, and I do need to get some more colour. So what I'll do, I need to hang on to this. I am breaking my own rule here. I've had to fill this up while hanging on to this. Put this in a holder, put the paint in it, and I've had to leave that paint with the lid open, which I don't like, because every time I do that, that's when I knock it. So we're just really trying to even it out now. It's just a nice even tone. I'm really liking the colour. The gun's not too light, it's not too heavy. It's just coming out quite nice. And I'm just feathering it out nicely right across the whole lot. Trying to get all those corners, everything all covered the same. Don't forget that edge there as well, and that side, possibly the front. Let's do those portholes one more time. And there. A little bit of red popping through there. We'll just hit that a bit more. And there's a bit of red in those fins too, I've noticed. Oh, we have a blockage. Oh no. Wow, that was lucky. Oh, there we go. Okay, she's unblocked. So we'll get just back to those fins, just a slight bit of hint of red in there. We'll get rid of that. We don't really want any red at all now. And I may have to even come back with just a very low air. Because sometimes it's the air is going in and just coming straight back out. It's not getting the paint in there. Let's redo this nose. This is not really the final coat, but this is where you want it all kind of coated the same. So when we hit the last coat, you're pretty much just painting one colour. Constantly working it back now. So I'm just working a little bit more down near the bottom, which I know I'm going to grab the other end when it dries and just come back and work this end. So what we have right now is we have a mostly black sub or dark sub. Oh, we're out of paint again. I don't think you could actually pick a better colour for a submarine because it's not black. If you wanted to mess with it a little bit, if you got too many subs, you could probably just mess with a drop of dark in it, just to darken it just a fraction, but that is a lovely, lovely colour. And I'm really hoping that when the white comes through and the red, this looks pretty good. So I'm gonna, it's, what is it, 5 past now. I'll wait for 25 minutes. So I'll hang on to this for 25 minutes and then we'll change sides. Also, while I'm waiting for this to dry for the next 25 minutes, I'm going to catch up on episode 11 with Jeff Donohue's scale modelling. He's doing the flue at the moment. It looks really impressive. I like what he did on the top of it. Yeah, it's very nice. Anyway, I'm going to continue watching that and I'll come back. Now, anytime I'm going to hold a painted surface, I always go and rewash my hands just in case I've touched my hair or anything that's oily. I don't want any oils on my hand. Okay, so now we're ready to paint this side and we'll repeat the same process. Dust coat, darken it, get it almost the same colour and then a final coat. So dust coat first, move the stand out the way. Making sure you do all the fins and the top edges and the back edges. And the other side. The other side of that one. And the top side of that one. And the rear. So as you can see, we're getting a little bit darker here now. Just making sure that when I come back into the old colour, I go slightly past it, just so we got the blending right. So what we're aiming for here is just slightly heavier coat now. Making sure everything is nicely covered. Same kind of tone all the way around. That rear fin is quite big, so make sure we get the back of that. So it's quite uniformly dark there now, and now we'll bring the rest of it in to match that. Just a piece there. Come back to that. Need more paint. Okay, so we'll just continue with that. Bringing that colour back the same. Put the blockage back again, whatever it is. There we go. Nope. Here we go. Something is causing this gun to slightly block up. So now we're just going to bring that back to uniform with the other one as much as possible. This is what I was saying before about having it all the uniform colour now. This is where you, anything that's not quite right, just darken her up. A little bit of blending going on there into the other one. Do the wings again one last time. And now we'll just sort of slowly work our way back. You want to make sure you get everything now exactly the same. It's all blended exactly the same. Just to the end. Just in case we missed anything there. So we're going to head back to the dry part that we've already done. Keeping an eye on the paint there. I think what we'll do now is blend it off nicely. And that is just about it. We're just about out of paint there now, and we're just about finished. So a little bit of blending. And there we have it. We are done. So I'll hang on to that for probably another half an hour, and I'll come back. So there we have our submarine all painted. It's been probably a good half hour, 40 minutes now since I did that last coat. Pretty happy with it. And I think what we're going to do is going to call this episode here. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.